Okay, thank you. You guys, thank you so much for coming. I have so many friends in the audience. I'm so happy. Like, I really, really appreciate it. I know what a pain it is to come out on a school night. And just thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. Today is day 9 of the book tour. We have been to New York and Toronto and D.C. Tomorrow we have San Rafael, and then we have Portland, Seattle, Olympia, Boston, and Denver. And we're continually adding new places, so if you have friends in other places, please tell them to look on our website at thestoryofstuff.org and find out some of the other places that we're going on tour. This is, of course, the best place on the tour to be. I'm so happy to be here because I am home, and so I get to do my 2 favorite things on the same day, which is talk about garbage and hang out with my daughter. So to do them both in the same day is so great. And I asked Dewi, can I thank her from here without being embarrassed? And I'm sorry, Dewi, I just want to thank you so much for the support while I was making this book. Right towards the end of the really hellish year, during which time I barely saw her, a bunch of people were sitting around the dining room table trying to discuss what would be a great subtitle for the book. And the one that she voted for was The Story of Stuff, the book that ruined my life. So thank you so much, Dewi. Berkeley is also home to so many fabulous environmental organizations, and there's 2 that are the beneficiary of tonight's book sales. The Ecology Center, which everybody I hope knows and loves and is a member of, and Gaia, which is actually a project of the Ecology Center that works on the same kinds of issues that we discuss in the Story of Stuff, but around the world. And so I just want to give a little shout out to Gaia and the Ecology Center and to Books Inc. for offering for all of the sales from tonight's book sales to go to the Ecology Center and Gaia. So thank you so much to Books Inc. This tour has been great, largely because everywhere we go we're having big gatherings. And this is a great example, especially with the contribution from Books Inc., of the power of getting people together in different communities that care about these issues. We've had gatherings in every city. We've been getting great media. We're thrilled about just today. I just made it. I was number 35 on the list of 35 bestsellers of the New York Times, so we hope it'll get even better. So thank you for those who helped to make it happen. That's not bad for a book about stuff. I'm not actually going to read from the book tonight. And you can do that yourself after you buy a copy here tonight. I know that if you buy your book from a local bookstore, it will cost more than if you buy it on Amazon. It'll cost about $8 more. And what I just want to tell you that $8 creates local jobs, it keeps the money in the local communities, and it helps to provide a space to gather for things like this. In addition, tonight it benefits those 2 wonderful organizations. But buying your books online, while it's better than not buying your books at all, doesn't provide the kind of value to a community that buying a book from a local bookstore does. So please do consider buying it tonight. So instead of actually reading, I'll tell you quickly what's in the book, and then I want to share with you a story. So the book contains a lot more information on the materials economy. In the film, which I hope you've all seen, I went really, really fast going through extraction, production, distribution, consumption, disposal. As a matter of fact, the complaint we get about the film is that I left something out. To which case I say, duh, it's a 20-minute cartoon. It's a really big global economy. I mean, I talk fast, but not that fast. But a lot of the stuff that I left out is in that book. I felt really lucky because I didn't write this book in a vacuum. We received about 80,000 emails from people asking for more information. So I really did my very best to answer the information and provide the resources and information people wanted. A couple of other things that the book has beyond the film, it has a lot of another ways. There's these little road signs of turning direction to another way. You can flip through the book and find the another ways. They're examples of how we could do things different, examples of solutions and ways that we could make our products without toxic chemicals or fuel our industries without destroying the climate. So there's a lot of examples of another way, how we could do things different. There's a lot of examples of signs of hope. There's a little cartoon of me holding a sign that says hope, and you can flip through the book and see them. In New York City, David Rakoff, who's a hilarious writer, interviewed me, and he said, were it not for those signs of hope, he might put a bullet to his head about halfway through. But the book is full of signs of hope. A lot of people ask me why I'm so optimistic about this work in spite of the really grim data about the environment. And it's because everywhere I go, in every city, in every state, in every country, all around the world, there are people that are rising up and creating an alternative. The way that we could live is not a pie in the sky thing. It's like people are doing it right now. So I have lots of that. And then finally, I have personal stories. I really did spend over a decade traveling around the world, visiting the factories where our stuff is made and the dumps where our stuff is dumped. And I shared a lot of personal stories in there of visiting seamstresses in the Disney pajama factories in Haiti, or visiting the survivors in Bhopal, the survivors of the world's largest chemical industrial disaster. You know, all around the world, some firsthand reportings from visiting where our stuff is made and where it comes from. But I want to tonight share a story that's not in the book. I want to share sort of the story of stuff, how I came to make the story of stuff. And I particularly want to share that with you here in Berkeley because I think there's some really important take-home lessons for those of us who are working to make change. What I love living in Berkeley is that so many people here are working to make change. So for those of you who know me, for about 20 years, I've been really, really interested in garbage. And my friends, many of you, humored me during those 20 years, for which I thank you. But I was largely ignored. One of my friends told me one of the good things about being ignored for 20 years is when people finally pay attention, you're really good at what you have to say. Because I had a lot of practice talking about it. And during these 20 years, I got deeper and deeper into my exploration of stuff, about where all our stuff comes from and where it goes. I just was fascinated. And I developed this kind of neurosis about our stuff. It's like I couldn't turn it off. So whenever I picked up anything, a cell phone or a toothbrush or a pair of shoes or anything, its whole life just flipped through my face, my eyes, my brain. I would be like this. That's why I sort of stumble along when I have to go in that Crate and Barrel outlet across the street or the Target, and you might think I'm stoned, but I'm not. I'm like the oil fields in Ogani and the chemical factories in Malaysia and the maquiladoras in Mexico, and I can't turn it off. And I have to say, if you're going to have a neurosis, fascinating neurosis to have. I really recommend it. But sometimes it's and the deeper and deeper I got into it, I got lonelier and lonelier because with my increasing expertise, I was becoming less able to talk to other people about it because I had so much jargon and so much insider reference. And so I had a real breakthrough at a workshop that was run by the Rockwood Leadership Training Program, which also happens to be based in Berkeley, but they have workshops all around the country. It's a really, really incredible leadership training. Anybody who wants to make a change in the world on environment, social health, on any issue, I really recommend you look up the Rockwood Leadership Training Program and sign up for one of their programs. It's really great. So I did the year-long program. A group of about 20 very experienced and very diverse activists. It wasn't all environmentalists at all. It was the head of the largest gay rights group in the country, the head of Move On, a minister from Birmingham working on economic justice issues. Very diverse. And one of the things we were supposed to do in this training was talk about what our purpose was. We had given each other permission to take feedback, and we stood in front of the group and we talked about what our purpose was. And me, being a total materials geek, I stood up there and said, my purpose is to bring about a paradigm shift in our relationship to materials. And I went in this whole long thing about parts per million and carbon sequestration and endocrine disruptors and phthalates and this whole long thing. When I was done, I was very confident, having said this for 20 years. Eli, who was the head of Move On, a really smart guy, he raised his hand, and I will be forever grateful to him. He said, I have no idea what you just said. And then there was a symbol you were supposed to do if you agreed, so not everyone had to say it, and the whole entire room did it. And they said that I rated very high on confidence. They said, we're very sure you know what you said, but we couldn't understand a word of it. And I remember Eli said, I don't even know what you're talking about material. What is a material? And I said, it's what you're holding. He was holding a notebook. I said, it's what you're sitting on. And he looked down and he said, no, actually, Annie, he said, I'm sitting on a chair. And I was just stunned. I said, is that what your brain does when it sees that? And they were all like, yeah. And they said, what does yours do? And I was like, for me, I'm like, it looks like wood. It could be mahogany. It could be teak. I wonder if it came from Indonesia or Malaysia. I wonder what tribal community got kicked off there. It looks like it's phthalates. It's PVC. It could be leaking endocrine disruptors. It wasn't designed for the environment. And they were all like, Annie, you need to get out a little bit more. And they gave me some really important feedback, which fundamentally changed how I communicate as an activist. And this is what I want to share with you, because I'm assuming that you guys are all activists and want to make the world a better place as well. They told me that I was using way too much jargon, and that when I used words like disruptors, since they didn't know them, they had and try to find a place in their brain for that word, and by then I was already like off to the next thing. So they said to simplify. And I think a part of me thought words was like dumbing it down or being patronizing or something. But what I realize is it's actually there's so much environmental and economic and other information out there by such experts that there's so much jargon that it actually serves to exclude people from participating in the conversation.